All right, so lofts. Lofts are probably one of the more complex features in CAD software. In terms of creating them, it's not super difficult. I've got a circle here. I've created an offset plane, and I've created a square which is parallel to that one. And the loft feature will allow you to create loft, blend from this shape into this shape. They have to be parallel, or they don't have to be. They can be perpendicular, but it allows you to loft between different profiles. Kind of neat. You can have a little bit more control over your loft. You can have more than just two profiles as well, of course, but you can have a little bit more control over your lofts by creating things called rails. So something I created earlier. So I've created rails. Now these rails have to touch your profiles. So when you create them, you just want to project these in, both these sides, just so that you know that they're actually touching the profiles. And I've created a set on the top and the bottom as well. So when I create my loft now, loft, that profile to that profile, I can set some guide rails to force it to go in different directions to get from that profile to that profile. So force it up, I force it down, which will stretch it out, and then I'll also do the same on the sides. So clearly you can create some really, really complex sorts of models using this loft tool. But of course, we now also have this form environment. So just like we can do a sweep or an extrusion or a revolve in the form environment, we can do a loft in the form environment as well. So that might remove the need for guide rails a little bit, is if you create a loft as a form. So in this example, I've created a sketch of an ellipse, which is going to be my support structure for my wing. I've just created it on that same plane which I used as the profile, the path for my profile in this top sweep. So I've just created an ellipse on that surface, and then I've created another offset plane, which is just under the top of this. I don't want to go to the top because then it's not going to sit on very nicely, so I'll just come a little bit under. So now I've got a plane here, and I've drawn my lower profile on it. So I've just got my lower profile is slightly bigger, so it'll sort of get bigger as it goes down, so it gets stronger and thicker as it drops. Also goes slightly forwards in that process as well. So we'll see what this looks like. Okay, so we're heading to the form environment. We'll create a loft between this one and this one. So automatically is, well, it's pretty neat as it is already. Our 8 profiles around the top is probably enough. So I shouldn't need to change the width spacing in this case, but I'm going to drop the number which we have up and down. And I reckon we probably only need 2, just so we've got one line around the middle in this case, because it's such a small part. And even this part here, you can see, is inside my body. All right, it's okay. Because this side's inside my body, just going to bring that up just a touch. I don't want to bring it up too much. I'll grab this set here and I'll drag them out and up, just to create that curve, create that sort of curve profile. Bring this one back a touch. Now, because this comes into the body, it doesn't really matter how low it is. It could be down here, because it just blends. It just merges with the body below it eventually. So That's not super critical. But you could use this loft tool to create a bit more of a curve in your profile. Of course, you can also use guide rails. It's just a little bit more tricky, I guess. So doing it with the form environment gives you a little bit more control over how it's going to come out. I'm not super happy with this. So probably what I'd do is go back and I would try to do a traditional sort of loft, but with some guide rails. There's also nothing to stop me from using guide rails in this form environment as well. So let's finish this one. Once I've created it, remember that it just comes in as a surface, so I would need to put the top and the bottom on it and stitch them together for it to become a solid body for me to then be able to combine this and this and this together. That's all for this video.